Hello, welcome to Satan Show. I am, the imposter, LL Tack. From this episode, I will briefly talk about the agnostic church of relevance. In opposition, not one of the religious corporations in the conventional coalition of pious hierarchy reared by continuation of the ancestral governing aristocrats. Beyond a single stand-alone origination, the organization's bodies dispersed amongst all the nations, states of the world. It united in one common belief of a guaranteed dignified standard of free living from all revenue streams and extortion for people planet-wide. The members of the newly formed institution are more a congregation of assorted human beings, whom share a common goal of camaraderie and cooperation, based on the particular and correct orthodox laws of corporal nature. The Neophyte Church is not an atheistic-only gathering of confident individuals because it lacks spiritual faith in an almighty creator being, one reforming modern societies regarding respect of impartial terrestrial space for life over death. Too much time and storage bestowed upon the long ago dead and their personal property, there is no room remaining for the living. If we do not have the monuments to the past, we will not respect the written reasons the reigning kings and queens of the world used to keep themselves and their heirs in power to create currencies. No more records in any official government building, no evidence that the communal worldly arable real estate is off limits to the undesirable global population, the poor. All are welcome to hear what the commentator believes to be the truth about the current day and our solutions for the future. Since no higher power, ever bestowed to those gifted ancestral souls governing the world's modern societies, messages fashioned out of archaic dreams that they propagandized into the supposed prevailing wonders. Nothing constructed from the commencement of the hypothetical Genesis on through antiquity traveling past today towards tomorrow, other than by the human hand alone. The congregations are open to all people no matter what they believe in during the time of their visit. She or he is free to enter one of the church's buildings without conviction. Anyone can approach the altar and say their piece of what they desire to express, moving them to speak. It also is an open political forum, an establishment with encouraged debates on pertinent states' governmental agendas per location. The church's political wing works primarily with the newly created Bridge Party in laying the foundations for welcomed genuine and achievable tomorrows, to become the future of the Republic of the Americas. It will be a realization of a brilliant time for cooperation and trust between the citizens of the unique northern and southern states, full of hope and opportunity. The Agnostic Convention realizes the enormous task ahead of it, attempting to invent something different from the corrupt churches, synagogues, and mosques of the decedents. None of the ghoulish proprietors glorifying death will halt the insanity, ghastly fiends tucked away throughout the everlasting palatial cathedrals and mortuaries. The vast amount of their time spent on stolen wealth and time wasted warehousing unchangeable pasts for religious individuals that may have never existed, much less resurrected from the afterlife to claim their present-day kingdoms. At the end of the day, these chosen to lead have not done their best to further their knowledge of truth and freedom, thus lying to themselves and us all weekend long. Better, we die young living a fictitious religious lifestyle than live 100 years or more as humans should, when provided a calm, bountiful, reasonable environment by our own hand. Understanding we are the best part of nature's adaptations to find the ultimate being seen at the apex of evolution, all alive before crowned us the one perfect creature still standing upright. The pious self-righteousness of the esteemed Grand Mufti/Rabbi held over important corporal human emotions to lose people's faith in themselves. Unable to employ our emotional transceivers once relied upon for required survival instincts and intuition, today hidden instruments used against us by the greedy extortionists. The lot of senses superficially felt for our continuing benefit, now beguiled on Saturday and Sunday at the pulpit. Jesus, Mohammed and Moses chastised the best of us for lying and cheating our way out of the current corporate CEO's predator plates, just as our forebears did thousands of years ago in Egypt and Rome. Not one so-called priest, rabbi, or imam really cares about what happens to their charges as long as the territorial governments continue to pay them to con the people out of a decent earthly, comfortable livelihood. Our members know there is no afterlife affecting anyone to lose their existence for nothing admonished on some contentious hearsay, furnished at the end of doing what you are supposed to do for the transcontinentalists. The discerning individuals understand that is one of the many control mechanisms utilized to have the societies waste their valuable life, time. Irrelevant attempts to stay in the present day while thinking of a positive future. Nothing advances without a human making their immediate fantasy a reality, thus we change our own potential's posterity with a positive steadfast forward view constructing smaller separated connected communities. The current civilization passionately and progressively will cooperate within the boundaries of humanity to lift the poor out of poverty, once believing in a comfortable standard of subsistence for the North and South Americans of the Republic. A few of the most important guidelines for irrelevant, nothing can exist where something else already does. Hitherunto there must be first a reigning location for an enduring otherworldly kingdom, before it is an affirmation of actuality throughout the society. Thus, no heaven or hell for the alleged I am or the devil, only current earth and the misdirected transcontinentalists raised as mortal gods by their generational British nannies. Furthermore, we are not constrained by heresy restricting anyone seeking the truth, whatever that might be at hers or his own findings end. All religious and spiritual books are available for us to read and gain knowledge or wisdom, never verboten. The more texts viewed and studied, the least ill effects gained by the lunatic words of the past human vultures. The Church does not believe in the intelligent design theory with divine assistance. This mentioned in the Miracle of Antiquities postulated works uncovered as necessitated religious artifacts, the hominid creators or authors haunted by good and evil deities in control of their every action illuminating the recently written unearthed Dead Sea Scrolls presented to the current cults. No tablets, papyrus, or stones chiseled to materialize the expressions contrived by any supreme god, Jehovah, Yahweh, Allah, etc. People can and do exist without I am, although it cannot and does not without us. The Church aims to unite all the religious germane scriptures and peaceful philosophies of the Hindus, Islamists, Judaic, Catholic and Confucianism cults into one textbook. Only with the entire pragmatic canon, tenets removed, never being restricted to a few sources of information officially sanctioned because the perspicacious Grand Rabbi, Mufti, or Pope does not accept anything else. No contradictions and remarkably ostentatious accounts of fictional events shall be transferred, only words that will have meaningful effects on the relevant reader of the agnostic book of relevance, added to the whole manuscript. Common sense must rule the institution to be able to compete with the stranglehold of psychosis and unqualified ethereal sagacity. We deem humans primarily above all, then the flora, fauna, climate, and earth. The last two planet-wide consecrates requiring no attention, in view of the fact that there is nothing, people could ever accomplish to effect a valid unmeasurable effect on indistinct weather deviations. Anthropological invented to add guilt and penance for the gullible ignorant unwilling to research and observe outside their own front doors for themselves. How much damage does a tornado cause while it is out of governmental control? Demonstrate the power of carbon trading. Blow up the meteorological variance guiding a smart bomb into its center, with smaller detonations to its flanks. Just show us once that the transcontinentalists have a way to halt normal climate disasters. We have never witnessed a real catastrophic global event in written gossip history, to have us believe one could happen now. If Antiquities chronicles do not scribe about geological or weather episodes in the independent nation's archives, their congressional libraries' novellas are nothing more than hearsay. Extinct citizens blather re-experiencing states inherited daily registers stored at local warehouses of who did what to whom amongst the wealthy, only propagates animosity for the future generations. The most important ecological history thus made off limits as a matter of national security, same as religious dogma protecting the pious and politicians. As with the dispersed federal government's agencies of the Republic for the Americas, the Church will be only state by state administered so not to become a monopoly against the core beliefs of the country's people. There will not be a pope or grand leader dictating their alone wishes, lying about divine messages from above or below, materialized for the people's consumption. The contentious transcontinentalists' 21st century science religion should also find recognition for its spuriousness. Then the ensuing intended harm and outcome analyzed by independent studies outside of the international agendas. Realizing how much of what we think researchable facts were, turn out to be nothing more than unsubstantiated theory. The Rabbientists have worked hand in hand with the religious world bodies to ready the people to leave the Inquisition of Muhammad and Allah, for the worship of today's fictional science and nature. Only a complete fantasy version continued from the first computer simulators used to fake orbital and lunar missions. MK Ultra, the project to brainwash all the astronauts into believing they went into outer space. Nothing has ever left the Earth's gravitational field without frying its electronics from the severe radiation, extreme heat, and electromagnetism, conceded by the Fukushima nuclear reactors, pools 1 and 2 here on terra firma. All scientific spacecraft innovations coincide with the latest chip designs and algorithms programming the professional's consciousness with each artist's rendition of the falsely perceived universe. The intense efforts of antiquity elevating God's immense power keeping it alive in the past, has moved on to science, the new savior. Just as before, sleight of hand acted underneath bad lighting has the public television's Rabbientists preforming magical wonders, which after some sound research become parlor tricks and nothing more. An impartial person cannot quote purely religious texts or be occultist and remain humanistic, confusing the watcher into believing the PBS men of science, conscientious objectors. So much is lost to the true nature of the beast that we are, the best and last remaining species of our kind. Gone the knowledge for that we have mislabeled, however our own inherited intelligence reconstructs ancestors' thoughts in our brain reassembled with their linear genetic outward appearance as the related child ages, this shown throughout our lifespan with déjà vu or a strange familiarity in your present surroundings. Then the time and effort wasted chasing the biblical heathen spirits and ghosts, lost fools journeying through fantasized out-of-body experiences accompanied by angels. Instead, these are all just daily demonstrations of the incredible imagination and real memories of our forefathers, termed animal instinct passed on for survival. Soon near an inauguration of humanity as its own queens and kings to move forward from what worked well during a time before the speed of information we have today. The society we want is achievable with little effort and a lot of trust. Industrialization and the NGO's infrastructure will serve for the commencement of the American continent's governmental realignments. All religious groups will follow the demonopolization of the corporations. This is what we will achieve within a few years of the Republic Council's control. Thank you for listening to Satan Show. I am, the imposter, LL Tack.